As I walk around my neighborhood today, and it's a freezing cold morning in Florida, believe it or not, it's like 30 something degrees. It's crazy. That's why I'm all bundled up here. Anyways, this video is all about how to make the most money as a real estate agent by just tweaking or doing a couple of different things. Now, let me just start by saying, the better the job that you do, obviously, the more clients you're going to have and the more money you're going to make. That's not what I'm talking about. And I'm not talking about having the big circle of people that you can call on and having rich friends or a lot of connections. Of course, that will make you a lot of money as well. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about the really very simple fundamental of business. So I call it, don't leave money on the table. Now, it gets a little crazy when we discuss this because some people say, oh, all you worry about is money and not relationship or anything like that. That is not true at all. That is actually farthest from the truth. I will explain all of that as we go. So, why am I making this video? I'm making this video because recently we've had, we train a handful of agents, brand new agents, and many times that, we learn and we can teach them all the little techniques of how to close a deal and all, follow up, yada, yada, yada. But that's not what it's about either. It's about running a business as a business and actually treat your business as a business and actually teaching the people that learn from you to become wealthy. And the way to become wealthy is to be very efficient and also very critical to make as much money in the process as possible. Now, there's a difference between cheating somebody out of their deal or staking your claim and claim the deal as it comes because you rightfully deserve it. So, how can I put this clearly? Let's just say, as a new agent, you don't have a lot of experience. So you go and you learn. So once you're learning a habit, that's what you're going to do when you start working for down the line, and you're going to treat the way you're going to treat your business, how you learn to do this, okay? Now, there's two school of thoughts about this whole thing. The situation that came up, and I'll just give you a rough outline of what happened. We did an open house, or we have an open house, and it was our listing, and we decided to open the listing up for other real estate agents in our organization to host open house. There was a big misunderstanding on our part that we didn't explain this one critical point to our new agents. Now, the new agents are great amazing people, hardworking people, hosted an open house, thinking that every client that walked through that door is their customer. Well, now there are many, many agents out there that have open house, and they do have this policy. Say, if you just, host an open house for me, and whoever walked through the door is yours. Now, it is 100% their prerogative. I'm not saying that's a wrong thing to do, but I'm saying that's not the smartest thing to do. Why is that? Because you're leaving money on the table. You're running a business, okay? Now, if you choose to do that, I think it's fine. It's totally fine. You can get a listing, put a sign in the yard, and let somebody else do all the open house, and if anything they find, or any customer that comes in, any buyers that comes in, you don't want it. If you make that kind of money to the point where you don't want it, fine. That's all you do. And that is not a problem. But what I'm saying is, for those agents that do that, they're leaving a lot of money on the table. Now, for our new agents, or if you are a new agent, I don't want you to learn that habit. Because with that habit, you're making a lot of friends, but you're not making a lot of money. Now, can you still make a lot of friends? Of course you can. I have tons of friends. Okay? Now, why are you leaving that a lot of money on the table? So, with the one deal, that buyer that walked through the door, and it was like an $800,000 listing. So just rough math, 2% of that is about $16,000. Okay? So now you have an agent that comes in, hosts your open house, and work with the buyer and make the $16,000. Meanwhile, you, the listing agent, that spend months and months and months, possibly, or maybe you just got lucky and just got the listing right away, and it took you 2 minutes to do it, and you're like, I don't want that's $16,000. I just make a quick listing, and I'll make my half. That's another $16,000. Anyways, that buyer that come in, it's a result of your hard work. You got a listing from it. Without your listing, that buyer would never show up to that house. Now, most likely, and this is a true situation, that buyer that walked through that house wanted to buy the house, and also wanted to sell 3 other property on top of that. So now, if you just let that go and make a friend, great. But you're leaving 4 deals on the table. Is it good for the buyer's agent to list your open house and get half of the commission? Of course, it's really good for him or her. But it's also great because that person also got 1, possibly 3 or 4 more deals out of it. Now, am I anti-buyer's agent? No, I am not. In our organization, I help our colleagues to do host open house all the time. But I do understand one thing, that whoever walks through that door, I make sure that they go through the listing agent. Now, if the listing agent decides to say, Jim, you know what? We're good friends. I'm inundated with deals. You take the buyer. I would be so happy and full of gratitude for that deal. I would definitely give the listing agent a referral fee because of their hard work. See, it's not about, grappling for money between the teammates, because we're all there to work together. The one thing that I made a mistake on was not teaching our newer agents this. And when we gave our agents the opportunity to open house to get more buyers for other houses in the neighborhood in $800,000, because the people who walk through these doors, they're not buying $200,000-$300,000 house. They're buying $800,000 to $1 million houses. So for a new agent to host an open house, it's an opportunity, of course. If they hit it off with a buyer, and the buyer doesn't want this house, they're more than welcome to continue the relationship and walk through, and show them any other house other than the house that I'm listing. Does that make sense? Now, it's a touchy subject, because a lot of even experienced agents don't understand this point. They're like, oh, you know what? If I'm going to hand it over to somebody, and I'm going to hog all that for myself, they'll never help me again. Well, that statement is very generous, to say the least. But if you really drill down on something like that, it's the fear. You're afraid that people might say bad things about you, or it's the fear that you might lose that person as a friend. And I'm not saying those fears are not real, but I just don't entertain that idea. I don't agree with that. I think it's our responsibility as real estate professional to communicate and convey this idea to begin with. Say, hey, look, I love to help you out. You don't have these kind of listings. You want to make a move. You want to sell luxury homes or bigger homes. But there's a caveat to that, right? You can't just expect the listing agent to hand it over to you after all they have worked for and cultivate and market the property. In the case that we did, it took me like 3 or 4 months to build a trust with the seller. And then when they agreed for us to list it, we had to come in and spend 2 solid weeks getting the house ready so it can be sold as a premium price in a premium neighborhood. So with that, there's value in that. We don't stumble upon deals, we make them. Now, for new agents, they don't know this because they never done it. They just think, oh, well, one day you list the property that's $200,000, $300,000. The next day you got lucky and you list a property that's 800,000, a million, 2 million. No, that's not how it works. And some of these more experienced agents will agree with me on this. It takes a long time to get enough experience to consistently list high-end properties. Okay? So I feel compelled to make this video because if I'm going to teach somebody to make a lot of money later on, this is very, very critical. Because if the reason why there's a lot of agents out there just willy-nilly handing over their buyers for people who do open house for them, they never learned this one technique or this one way of protecting yourself, protecting your money, protecting your asset, protecting your income, because you are giving hundreds of thousands of dollars away. So it is so cold, my nose is running. But you know, it's my responsibility. If I'm going to start teaching somebody how to be successful, well, first I have to do it myself. I have to prove that it works. Okay? Now, if the person who don't agree with this, they don't have to do the open house, right? And the person who has the listing and don't agree with this, they're more than welcome to give away half of their money. But is that any way to run a business? I don't know of any business that actually run that way. Rachel and I, we had a restaurant for many, many years. We don't give half of our money to the waiters and waitress because they have their place. They make that decision. They make that choice to do what they do. And then one day, if I do that, and one day that waiter or waitress decided to open their own restaurant, they're going to learn that bad habit from me. They're going to say, oh, you know what? My old boss gave me half of the money that he earned. So now I'm going to give half of my money to the next person. Hey, you see value in that? That's great. Like I said, you're going to make a lot of friends for that for sure. Okay? But you're not going to make a lot of money. Now, and those are not the same thing. I can make a lot of friends without giving them half of what I earn. Okay? So that's the critical part. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, this is a business. And running a business is dollars and cents. And it's not what it's all about, of course. Running a business is about relationships, communication, delivering what you promise, and being straight up and honest. The reason why I got into this situation was my fault by not making this point clear to the agent that agreed to help me out, or we help her out as well, to establish herself as a top agent in town. But once it came down to this, the other agent was very upset, and understandably so, because if you go and you say, oh, you know what, I'm going to do an open house for Jim Ong, and in my mind, I'm thinking any person who walked through the door is my client, and then Jim come and tell me, no, wait, this is not how it works, I would be upset, and I do not blame the other agent at all. It's just because I didn't make that clear from the beginning. So running a business is communication. There is rules, there's regulations that the state and the government put out, but they don't put out these kind of rules. This is something that as a entrepreneur and a businessman, you have to learn this as you go. That's why I feel that for this agent's sake, for the rest of her career, if she doesn't learn this from day one or at the beginning, 10 years from now, that agent learned that bad habit. How much money does that agent loses by leaving money on the table? Can you imagine? I know experienced agents are doing this. They're leaving money on the table all day long because they don't feel like they earn it, or they just don't realize that's what they're doing. Okay? Now, the scenario goes on more. If we hand over an open house for any agent, and they bring in an outside buyer, rightfully so, it's their buyer, okay? But if the buyer walked in because of my marketing, my promotion, and the person just hosting the open house for me, that's my client, okay? Because that agent was just there for the 2 or 3 hours, maybe a little more, putting out the flags, taking in the flags. It's just part of real estate. That does not entitle the other agent to take the buyer. I have never felt that way. I've done plenty of open houses for people. Never once I would be entitled to their client. My responsibility there for that day is to answer as many questions as I can that I know, and the one that I don't know, I forward it to the listing agent, and they take it from there. Because if I answer these questions, I'm learning how to do it. I'm learning and I'm helping out the listing agent because they generously give me the opportunity to pick up some buyers. I'm not gonna, think that that's my client that walked through the door. But then again, that's how I run my business. So no one have to tell me that up front. I just assume that's how it's going to work. But for the new agent's defense, the new agents don't know this. They don't realize this. And as the fault of a experienced agent like myself, it's my fault for not teaching them that or telling them that up front. And it's rightfully so that they're upset. And, hopefully that we both learn from this situation and, move on. But if the relationship between you and that agent is fractured beyond repair because of this one little thing, well, that's not a real relationship to begin with. So if that's the case, it's actually for the better, because at least you know who you're dealing with at the beginning, at the offset of the whole thing, because you're going to work with these people for a long time. And I believe that any misunderstanding can be rectified and can repaired. And going forward, it actually makes the relationship stronger if the both parties can get over it. But sometimes they can't. And if they can't, then it's okay, because there's just thousands and thousands and thousands of realtors around. Okay? And being in the business for over 20 years, it's our responsibility to make sure the new people that come into the market know the right etiquette. And with that, I hope that I'm not beating a dead horse and keep making the same point over and over again. I have a tendency to do that. But I hope you find this video informative, valuable, and with that, please keep in mind, not everything is as it seems. Some people think that, a person who is in business only think of money. Well, money is just a result of the action that you take. At the beginning, it looks like I'm being a total jerk. Taking a deal away from somebody that I let them do the open house on. But that's not true. That is a lesson that I've learned a long time ago, and I failed to convey that at the beginning. So take that as a tips and tricks of doing real estate. So I will continue to do many more of these type of videos that teach you the nuances, but very, very important things in the real estate business. With that, I'm signing out, and I will see you all in the next video.